The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café.
Welcome to this episode of Pit Life BBQ. Gather around the pit with your hosts, Johnny Mags and Messy Mike. Let's talk barbecue.
What's up, everybody? Coming to you live from the Studio 21 Podcast Café in Salem, New Hampshire. It's the Pit Life BBQ podcast, where we talk everything barbecue and a lot of other topics that you normally talk around the pit. As always, I'm joined by Messy Mike.
What's going on?
Nothing. I'm looking for the show. Oh,
Why?
there it is.
How you doing today, by the way?
Well, I needed that laugh.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it was, first and foremost, today we're joined by Chef Andy Husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Culinary leader, barbecue master in the New England area.
Yeah.
Is the owner of the Smoke Shop Barbecue. Has, I believe, 6 cookbooks now.
You are correct.
Okay.
6.
Yeah.
6 cookbooks, and we'll get on the newest one. But go ahead.
You know, Andy, it's, what the hell did the show go?
He's
I
a little
already lost
flustered
it.
today.
Yeah,
so.
I'm all fucked up. Unfortunately, first and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for their reaching out today and sending, love and support to me and my family. Today we got some word about 10:30 this morning that my Uncle Jimmy passed. And my Uncle Jimmy was a very intricate part of my life. My parents did a fantastic job, I'd like to think, in raising me. But he definitely put his imprint on my life and how I am. And, straight shooter, and I don't care if you like it or not. Pick up your pants and do it. Here's the truth. You're going to ask me a question, here's the goddamn truth, whether you like it or not. So, in honor of him, obviously...
This is a first.
I have to honor him in the only way I know how. And unfortunately, we're not sponsored by Budweiser yet.
And you're not drinking the whole 6-pack?
I'm not drinking.
Okay, just to let everybody know. He probably could in a matter of seconds, but...
Pass one down. Andy, if you'd like one to join in. You guys can drink them. I have to chug it. Because he's the one who taught me how to chug. So it's only appropriate.
And Johnny, I've seen you in action. He taught you well.
Yes, he did. We always had the joke, me and him, were both the black sheeps of the family. And he was my best, worst, influential uncle. And there was a couple stories that'll be coming by. And, you want one too? There you go.
Do the kids want?
If he was here, he'd have you two drinking one too. Don't laugh, he would. But anyway, Jimmy, we love you.
Cheers.
Miss you. And as you would say, can of corn.
Oh, cheers.
And here we go.
I'm not chugging, I'm just drinking. Look at this.
That was about a sub 3.
Pretty good.
That's impressive.
Young Ben is just staring. He hasn't seen you in action before.
Obviously, you didn't see the half-gallon eggnog chug at Christmas time.
No.
Minute and 9 seconds, and that's with probably 15, 20 seconds of screwing around here.
You had
toying
to
with his
take a
emotions.
little bit of a break. But then you finished strong.
Well, it was just playing against him.
I know.
Getting him nervous. But, all right, that said, the show must go on. Here we go. Been very excited all week.
Oh, it's been nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So, how about you start off? Because you actually recently took Andy's class on brisket.
Yes. Well, first of all, you're born on February 12th.
Sure.
Same day I was born, so that's pretty sweet. And you're kind of like my mentor, so I'll look up to you. But I do have to say, I've eaten at your restaurants, the one in Cambridge and the one in Somerville. I took your brisket class just recently. Didn't know what to expect from it, but I went there. The people that I met there were excellent. The staff was fantastic. You were, hands-on, one-on-one with everybody. It was a great experience, and I would definitely say that, if anybody, whether it's backyard, professional, competition guy, whatever you do with a brisket or whatever you do with barbecue, take one of your classes. Take the brisket class, definitely, because that's one I took, but I know you offer many more classes. Sure. But just what you learn, and I even learned something, and I'm learning every day also, all the time. But it's the knowledge I learned, the people that I met, we exchanged some phone numbers. People had different ideas on some stuff. You gave us some ideas. Some of the rubs that you had that I wouldn't even think about, like Worcestershire powder.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I've never heard of Worcestershire powder until you said it from the class.
What is it? The Morton's emulsifier? Was it the?
Oh no, that's Tender Quick.
Tender
is what
Quick.
They call
Yes.
Morton's was the brand, but Tender Quick. Yeah.
But even just those tips and just ideas, it's definitely well worth it. And you were very hospitable, and the food was excellent that we ate there. We had the new sticky ribs.
Oh yeah, the fried chicken dinner. Whole spread afterwards. Yeah, that was great.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Mike,
awesome.
Congratulations. That's the longest non-question I've ever heard.
Thank you.
You covered a lot of ground.
And he spit out hospitable correctly, too.
Sort of. It started off as hospital. And became pittable.
He hit it at snuff. You had to listen closely.
Oh God! But how did you? You've been in the restaurant business for a long, long time.
Yeah.
You opened up your first restaurant in 1996, I believe.
True.
How did you get into barbecue?
Yeah, that's a great question and a fun story. In 1992, I graduated Johnson & Wales, and I got a job with Chris Schlesinger. He wrote Thrill of the Grill.
Yes.
It's like the best grilling cookbook. It came out in the 80s, and when nobody was really doing that kind of stuff.
Is he from East Coast Grill?
Yeah, he's the East Coast Grill. He's my mentor.
Okay.
And so I got to work for him, and one of the and so he had East Coast Grill, and next door was Jake and Earl's Dixie Barbecue, a little takeout. And he'd grown up in Virginia and loved barbecue. And one of the biggest fights we ever had was him forcing me to work there. I wanted to be a fancy chef. I wanted to do fancy ingredients and do all this stuff. And he's like, you will work there and you will learn this. And to be truthful about it, I grew up in Seattle. I had never had a real barbecue rib. I had never had real pulled pork or a brisket until then.
Really?
Never. My father, great guy, great cook, but it was like country style ribs with Casey's masterpiece on them or something like that. That's how the chicken would be done. I didn't even understand this, and I went to culinary school. It's not, they don't talk about barbecue. And so that occurred. And so I had been working there and learning how he did it. Fast forward about 5-6 years, I opened my next restaurant. I opened my first restaurant with Chris Hart, who is the leader of our IQ barbecue team. He is our head pitmaster and phenomenal pitmaster. We had opened our first restaurant together, and then it kind of imploded, and he decided to go off and do kind of his own thing. He went into the software industry. And it was like a divorce. It was very, very sad. He'd been my best friend since high school and was sad. And we said, we reached out to each other about 3 months afterwards and said, that competition, that pig and pepper competition, let's go to that thing and just do it. And to us, it sounded like a weekend of drinking. Yeah. We were like, just tell the wives, and girlfriends, we're going to this thing. And
don't call
it was raining and it was just, we did not have any gear. We had a little tent, and it was the environment was cold. It was October, and we had a blast.
Yep.
And we met Uncle Jed, and he took us into his tent and kept us warm and gave us bourbon, and it was awesome. One team told us, they're like, oh, chicken category. They're like, no, it's anything but chicken. You got to do something else. So now we're scrambling. Didn't know that they were joking, and we ended up doing chicken, and we came in third. And by the way, we came in arrogant also. We came in like, oh, we're culinary people. We own restaurants. We know what we're doing. Yeah. Came in third, got this little trophy, and that's what started it. That was what, the fire was lit. The competition, the fun. We took years, built a team. We continued to lose for about 5 years straight. We did okay, but we were always goofing something up and drinking too much, playing cards, not focusing.
And how did that go with the team? like losing for 5 years.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
You know, we were having a blast.
Okay.
But then, you know, Chris really led us and said, I'm sick of this. I'm not going to do this unless we're really going for it. So we all kind of had to double down. We all had to practice more, you know, practice actually when you're not competing. We had to come there with recipes, come there with ingredients. You know, we made it really focused, and we started to do very well. We also did some kind of moneyball-y stuff where we kind of figured out some logarithms and things like that on smoke and temperature and time and all this stuff. And it's just craziness that happened. And we were the ones who brought like meat glue to the use for chicken. I know it sounds weird for those who don't compete, but
is meat glue? So is it pickle juice? And
no, meat glue is meat glue. It's a powder you can buy on Amazon.
Really?
And what it does is, and I'm sorry again for you don't want to get nerd out about it, but it's basically was created by the military as to heal wounds. It's a protein powder. Be careful if you use it. We talk about it in the books. If you use it, and we talk about it in Wicked Good Barbecue, don't get it in your eyes because it seals, right? It's a protein. It's very. So what we do is we take the skin off the chicken thigh, scrape all the schmaltz out of it so it looks like glass. Mm-hmm. Sprinkle a little bit of this meat glue on top, put it on top, and then you let it sit for about 4 hours, and it looks as if it had never taken off.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever had meat glue before? No. Have you ever had crab stick?
No.
Never had crab stick in your sushi or anything like that?
No. Oh, maybe. I have no idea, but like a crab stick?
Yeah, crab stick. It's in quotes. It's not necessarily crab. Okay. It's like usually pollock or something. That has meat glue in it. A trick a hotels use, they'll buy 4-ounce tenderloins and glue them together to make it look like an 8-ounce tenderloin because it's cheaper. And you wouldn't even know. So you might have had it. It's totally edible. So things like that. These are like technology things that we did to help us, you know, win. And really the baseline that helped us win was the practice. Mm-hmm. You know, the reps. You got to, whatever you do in any career, it's doing the reps, right? So, and I can't say enough that Chris Hart is really, he's the leader of our team, and he really designed how our team ran, and he's the guy who was in charge. You know, I
actually just got that today for some crazy reason, but practice like you never won and perform like you never lost.
Yes. Agreed.
That works. You know? I definitely agree with that.
Send that to the Raven. Send that to the Ravens. So that's kind of how we got involved in it. You know, and what happened, you know, now that I'm going to have 5 barbecue restaurants is I had my restaurant for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And doing anything for 20 years is a lot.
And did you do any barbecue at Tremont 647?
Here and there.
Okay.
I had a smoker, but I couldn't hold it. That's the crux when you want to be able to hold your barbecue for. I mean, if I can take it out and serve it to you, it's the best it can ever be. Yep. How do I keep it like that? So no, not really. So I knew I wanted to do something. I had a friend, another restaurant associate, who he wanted to do something. We wanted to do something together. And I was thinking about doing an izakaya, a Japanese pub, is what I wanted to do. What do I know about a Japanese pub is a great question. The answer is nothing. So he's like, that sounds great. Why aren't we doing barbecue? And I'm like, I really had honestly never thought about opening a barbecue restaurant because that's my play. That's what I do for fun.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let me think about that. And a couple of weeks later, I came back and I'm like, I think I'm ready. I think this is because I'm so passionate about barbecue, and I'm so honored to be here. And
how hard was that decision? Because you're so passionate, and because you do it for fun, how hard was it to say, I want to turn this into a business, and the fun may...
Well, that was a concern, but I love what I do, and so I knew that it would be a fun, exciting thing, and something I knew a lot about. So it wasn't that hard of a decision once I made the decision. Okay. You know, I have to think things out, and I did. And, you know, this book, the newest book, and what I believe about barbecue is family and celebration. You know, we're brothers and 100%. Sisters in barbecue, and I can go to any state, any barbecue place and say, hey to the pit master, and we're like best buddies having a beer, you know, and I just love that about barbecue. And, you know, it's more than just food. Correct. It's a way of life, right?
Yep. There's no competition because everybody's palate's different, barbecue's different, you know, so it's a family, it's a brotherhood. Yeah.
I love, I don't know if you know Kerry Bringle from Peg Leg, right? Yep. I love what he posted all the time. He says, you don't have to hate someone else's barbecue to love mine. And I just love that, you know, because people always think it's like a competition and, No, there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
It's competition when it's competition.
Yeah.
You know, and even then it's really only a competition from, for the 2 hours you're turning in, or maybe 3 hours, really you're just having fun. 100%.
And everybody's talking. I know you had Bill Gillespie here last week. He's my friend because of barbecue, and we've hung out and had a beer together, or 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
So what was obviously that's why you decided to open a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah.
Was there any other thought of that, or any like little standoffish about opening in the Boston area? Because obviously the Boston area is so diverse, especially when it comes to restaurants and culinary things of everywhere in the world. There's a restaurant in Boston for that. Was there any little, maybe not so much a barbecue place in Boston, any really second thoughts on it?
I'm not a guy that has many second thoughts. I kind of just go for it. But, there's some good barbecue in Boston. Of course, as I like everybody. We've had Red Bones forever, Sweet Cheeks, Blue Ribbon, all good stuff, good people. But we felt it was somewhat of a food desert. If you were in Boston, you told me wherever you are and say, I want Italian, I can tell you where to go. You wanted sushi, I could tell you where to go, wherever you are. But in Boston, it would have been, well, you got to go here or over here. So we felt that there was a demand. We saw how busy everybody was. And, we do a little bit something different. Sweet Cheeks is more of kind of a Texas style, I think, and that's great. We kind of do my version of the best. So, highlights from Memphis, highlights from Kansas City, highlights from Texas, just my interpretation of it. I would never call it traditional. It's more my interpretation.
That's the thing, especially here in the Northeast, that there is no, there's no such thing as, Northeast barbecue. No. There's Texas style, there's Carolina style, Memphis style, St. Louis style. So, how I've always talked about it was, especially the Northeast, is the crock pot, if you will, of barbecue. Because any place you're going to go, you're going to get a little of each style.
Sure.
The brisket is going to lean towards the Texas style.
Sure.
A pulled pork is going to lean toward the Carolinas, while the ribs are going to stay, hit Memphis, St. Louis style, whether you like a dry or wet.
Well, the funny thing is we get people who will come in and go like, guys, I'm from Memphis and your ribs are not great ribs. And I'm like, well, I kind of like them. And I go, but... what do you like? He's like, well, this is how Memphis ribs are done. I'm like, okay. But if you walk out the door, a guy's going to come in from Kansas City and tell me that they're not right if I do them your way. So, you never really make them, what we try to say is these are just tribute. It's us doing the best, what I like to do, and really what we think the customer likes. And right now it's been great. We've gotten Best in Boston 2 years in a row. And so we, in the peak season coming up, so April through October, we're going to serve at least 10,000 people a week.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of barbecue.
And what you mentioned, how much brisket are you?
Last year was 160,000 pounds of brisket.
Isn't that insane?
This year will be 200,000 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot
That's
of meat.
a lot of meat.
Yeah, just brisket. That's
just
crazy.
Brisket.
Wow. Huh. Wow. So, okay, you won the Jack Daniels Championship in 2009.
Yeah. Yes.
You won a 150 perfect score in brisket at the Kansas City.
It would be 180,
Royal.
but no, we didn't get a
188.
perfect score, but we did win brisket out of 510 teams.
Okay.
At the Royal.
At the Royal.
Yeah.
And that's, wow.
Those are kind of our most notable. But 35 Kansas City Barbecue Society Grand Championships. I think 2 or 3 times, sorry if I misstate this, New England Barbecue Society, or now Northeastern Barbecue Society Team of the Year. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we've done all right for a couple of Northern boys. We were the, again, I have to give Chris Hart a shout out, but we were the first non-Southern team to win the World Championships. So,
and that must have been a surprise to everybody there. I mean, who are these guys? Well, and then they hear you talk. I mean, do you guys get to talk at all, or just get your trophy?
Just get your trophy.
Okay.
And go. But by the time we won, I think we had gone 9 years straight in a row. So we knew most of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as I said, everybody's family. So, of course, everybody wants to win, but, everybody's happy for you. No one's like get these Northerners out of here.
Yeah.
You know? So it's you got to do the reps. You got to build your chops and go for it.
I mean, I'd say we're the meanest people in barbecue because everybody down south's nice and, they take you in. We're assholes.
Nah, we got a little edge.
Fast.
We have a little edge.
We don't slow down.
To us.
Yeah.
That's the nice way of putting it.
So you get the restaurants, you get the competition. You got 6 cookbooks.
Yes.
This is your latest cookbook.
Yes.
The Smoke Shop Backyard Barbecue. And basically drink, party, eat, whatever, like a pitmaster, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the premise was, and one of the things I think people, especially if they go to a barbecue event, they look at everybody and everybody thinks they're like vagabonds and plumbers. And when you really get to know people, there are engineers, as our friend Bill is, to doctors, to dentists, all walks of lives, right? And they also, I feel, we get pigeonholed for like, oh, well, you just cook barbecue. And that's not true. I don't think, I have friends that are Italian chefs and they don't just cook Italian.
Yeah.
Or they don't just like Italian. They like everything. So this book, while the backbone and the basis is about barbecue, there is a Taco Tuesday chapter, there's a tailgating chapter, there's a fancy chapter, but it's all. What the whole premise is, and what I think barbecue about, and we quote Tuffy Stone is, nobody cooks brisket for themselves, right? Is that we cook it for family, we cook it for friends, for celebrations, and I just I love that about barbecue, and so that's what that book about. Like we have punches and
now people cook brisket just to squish it on Facebook. It's so crazy.
I certainly don't.
No.
So this book is way more. Some unbelievable desserts. We had some really good contributors. My friend Sarah, she wrote all the dessert recipes, and she's a school teacher. And she's like, awesome. But I used to go to her house, and she would make these cookie spreads, and like desserts, and I'm like, these are amazing. So. She did all that. The Derby slab bars are just phenomenal. If you want something sugary and sweet and yummy, boom, make those. So it's a really well-rounded book. While based in barbecue, there's a ton of other stuff in there.
And a lot in cocktails too.
Cocktails, absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
Some really great cocktails.
Now the Derby bar, is that for the Kentucky Derby?
Well, it's taken from a Derby pie.
Okay.
So I don't know the heritage of it, but I got a feeling it has something to do with that. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So what made you want to do a cookbook? Obviously, you have 6 of them, so something he wants to keep coming back to it. So what was that first?
You have children, right?
Yes.
So you have one, and you're like, oh, we'll have another one. And you're like, oh, God, now I'm going to have another one. I have twin girls, so first and last children, and I love them dearly. So my mentor, Chris Lessinger, had written a cookbook, and he had opened a small restaurant and had a partner. And so I just kind of did everything he did. So I knew, okay, I'm going to write a cookbook. And I wrote my first one in 2000, took a break, and then they approached us. It was really kind of cool. An editor approached us because I wasn't sure I wanted to write another one. Editor approached us and said, we want a book that's really hard to cook. We want you to write challenging recipes. And I'm like, well, we did just win the World Championships. We could give you those recipes because like a normal recipe is 400 words. The brisket in Wicked Good Barbecue is a 2,000-word recipe. Oof. It's so hard. But again, if you want to do it, if you want to win something, it's like if Tom Brady wrote a book, it's not like, hey, just throw the ball.
Yeah,
it's a little more than that, right? Yep. So that's kind of what we did for that one. And then the ball just started rolling, and we built teams of, testers and writers and just people to help, and publishers to help us kind of make our dreams come true. This one, what's important to us is that we have something to say. So when we wrote Pitmaster, which is by far our best-selling book to date, that came out 2 years ago, we really wanted to talk about regionality of barbecue and a little bit of competition. It's got timelines. Mm-hmm. No one's ever written about competition barbecue. No.
True.
Someone wants to tell me, besides Wicked Good Barbecue and Pitmaster, anybody who's actually ever really talked about on how to do it. So that's a passion of ours, and we also, did North Carolina. We have Sam Jones in there from there, right? We have modern barbecue, all different pitmasters, and we really wanted to be about our passion for being pitmasters. This one really wanted to write the passion of a kind of joy of just barbecue. So for me, it's important to have something to say. Like if you're Andy, I'm going to give you this money, and you want to write another book. It's not like that. I need to have something to say. Think of it like an album. You're probably your favorite band has put out a bad album.
Oh yeah.
Right? So they need to be there to like want to write this album. I've got something to say. I've got these tunes I need to do or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
Now, do you already have like another cookbook in mind, or do you have something down the road?
The way it starts is Chris and I. So Chris wasn't involved with this one just mainly because this was about my restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But we start texting each other, and what do you think about this? And then he'll text back. A couple of days later. Well, what do you think about this? And so we'll bat it around, but. Maybe we were noodling it, but again, I've written 6 books, so I've said a lot.
Yeah.
So I need to make, but a book on a single subject like ribs could be fun. Ribs and sauces could be fun, but it'd have to go way beyond barbecue, right? Like
Right.
I just think there's, how many rib recipes can I write? And
Yeah.
so, we'll see.
Okay. Like Ray Sheehan. Are you familiar with Ray Sheehan?
Barbecue Buddha.
Yeah.
Out of New Jersey.
Okay, yeah.
His cookbook is coming out
April 14th.
April 14th. And, it's basically just, ribs, but a lot of sauces, different style sauces.
You had like 5 or
Looks
6
pretty good,
different
yeah.
style sauces with a couple recipes that go well with each of the sauces.
that's great.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
Now,
Good.
if I'm not correct me if I'm wrong. You appeared on BBQ Pit Masters with Chris.
Yes, I was his assistant.
Okay,
As
I wasn't sure.
As I always am.
And I'm sitting there Googling it and YouTube. I could not find that episode to save my life.
Yeah, we got beat by Johnny Trigg.
Yeah, that was
another. Yeah, And by the way,
I wouldn't get mad getting beat.
Yeah, if you're gonna get beat,
you're going into a 3-man competition, and Johnny Trigg is one of the 3 members. You're running into a buzzsaw.
Yeah. So so it was great. I mean, that was a fun time. I think that was taped in Georgia. We basically drove down, next day competed, and drove back. It was intense, and it was fun though. Absolutely intense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Because we've had a couple. We've had Junior Rios, Robbie Royal on. Now, how was your experience with that? Because they were saying, it's crazy that you'd cook one brisket or whatever you want for that particular thing, then they'd give you another one. What is that bit of goodness?
Pork belly pastrami skewers.
Oh, holy hell!
Oh, those are good.
Isn't that amazing?
I want
You
it.
stopped me dead in my tracks.
I know. I'm like, whoa.
Mid-sentence.
They were saying, you had what you turn and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then so we do all that. Then we're, kick back, relax. And all of a sudden, here they come again with a whole new piece of meat. And now they want us to talk about it and film our hands. That had to have been a little bit of a shock. Or how'd you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I had both done a fair amount of TV before that, so you're used to it. The days are 14 hours, and it's a lot of stop, go. We need to reshoot this. We need to do that. This Saturday, I am on the Cooking Channel, if you get it.
Really?
I'm a culinary judge on a show called Fire Masters.
Okay.
Which, if you guys want to try out, you should. You can win $10,000. It's basically like chopped meats, Iron Chef. So first round is three competitors doing their signature dish, 30 minutes, go. Then the second round is the 2 winners get a this or that. So it could be ketchup or mustard. It could be peaches or cream. It could be something. And then whoever won the first round gets to choose, 30 minutes, go. And the pantry's amazing. It's no whammies, no gummy bears, no silliness. Cook and like live fire, smokers, grills, everything you need. Then winner of that round goes against one of the judges, which I can't tell you. I can't tell you. Wow, I am one of the judges. I can't tell you if I compete, but you will see me compete. Awesome. It's on the cooking. It's on the Cooking Channel. It is. It's a really great, and the winner gets $10,000. So I'm really used to that stop go. I mean, the days are 14-hour long. Hey, say that again, do this again. And it's just part of TV.
Yeah.
Like what you see actually on TV is super edited. They're taping 14 hours for one day, for one half an hour, right? So they need to get their shots. So it's hard. And it's hard, especially as your competitor, because you're so fierce and you want it to be done a certain way. And you want to, when you're done, I'm done. But that's not how TV works. So it's a challenge.
And especially with a barbecue competition, you have a plan. all right, we need to do this by this time, and you prep this, I prep that, and we meet in the middle. Then all of a sudden you got an editor and a camera guy and a producer and an executive producer and the executive producer. Oh, no, show your hands this way. What the hell you mean show my hands this way? I'm cutting a brisket. I'm applying rub. This is what I do. You know, they want you to change it around.
But the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Now, when they say to do it, you do it. They're just trying to do their jobs.
Yeah.
If you were doing your job, you would want to be like, hey, man, I need you to do it this way. It's yes. So like when we're on that show, I have like an earpiece and they're telling us, you know, not that show, but when on Fire Masters, you know, they're like, hey, you know, can you say that again? Hey, turn to the right a little bit. Hey, take a step back. Like they're always kind of blocking me and telling me to say something. Sometimes I'll talk too fast and they'll like slow that down. You know.
Oh wow, that adds a whole different level to the competition too, with someone sharpening the ear.
Yeah. I just feel like there's a lot of intimidation, you know, to fill out that form to be on one of those shows because you have no clue what to expect if you've never been on TV.
Yes, and that is a challenge. You know, my advice to anybody who's going to go on Fire Masters or even Chopped, you have 30 minutes. First of all, practice.
Did they give you any idea of what's going to be on for ingredients?
In any show I've been on, no.
Okay.
No, and in Fire Masters, when I do cook, because I will cook in one of the episodes, it's a theme. Mm-hmm. So the theme could be Thailand or Greece or Hawaii or whatever, right? In fact, you can see me cook on previous episodes. I know it's aired where I did cook Hawaii. But I didn't know. So when they lifted up the reveal, it's Hawaii. I'm like, okay, well, I've been to Hawaii, so let me think about that one for a second, you know?
Yep.
So no, you don't know. But again, to be on the show, you want to, if you have 30 minutes to cook your signature dish, you need to be able to do it in 15.
Okay.
You really, maybe 20, because it's just you're not used to the equipment, you're not used to running around, you're not used to the cameraman behind you, you know, you're not used to the sound. Like the whole thing is different. So you want to be ahead of your game. Okay. You don't want to take that 30 minutes.
And another thing I have just about the Chopped thing quick. If you don't make the time, it's TV. It seems like everybody makes the time. You know, they're counting down. Some people still have a couple of things to put on plates. Do they let that go and make sure everybody, so if you don't...
Hands up or hands up.
Okay.
But with that said, not necessarily the show I'm on, but listen, do you really believe that everybody is going down to the last second and hands up?
Yeah.
So, you know, but a lot of them are, you know, like, and I'm always using every second I can to finalize my garnish to make it look just a little bit better. But I'm trying to roll in 3 minutes beforehand, just like when you're plating a box. You know, you're not plating a box and sprinting. I You're like, okay, I think we're good. You got somebody over here, you know, on our team, at least we have someone going 3. Okay, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you've got to close that box and you've got to go, right? And so we have a countdown and we know what's going on, but you're ahead of the game. If you're ever just boxing at 1 minute till, you know, final turn in, you might as well go home, right? Like, it took 4 hours, 6 hours to cook. You didn't have that done then?
Right.
Why do you need another minute?
Yeah, true. The box should already be done. All you have to do is really place and final clean
Exactly.
up. Oh, yeah. So where can everyone find the book?
Anywhere, any reputable bookseller.
Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com.
Yeah, of course.
Google Books.
Of course, all those places.
The usual suspects.
Yeah, I mean, we'll sell them. And I always tell people, just buy them on Amazon. They're cheaper, but you want to buy them from me, come on by. I'll sign them for you, you know, whatever you want to do.
Hey,
now, if anyone who wants to pick up the cookbooks, is there a couple recipes in there that you, right off the top of your head, you need to check out?
Well, as I said, the Derby bars are phenomenal. There's the the cold brew coconut martini, which is one of my favorites. For meats, I mean, I have this kind of simple brisket, which is it's a real, you know, you guys may be like, I'm beyond that, but for someone who's just kind of cooking at home and doesn't want to go competition style, that brisket is money. My favorite way to do ribs lately is in the tailgate chapter here, and they're baby backs, salt and pepper on the grill. Just on the grill, continually offset. So if your fire's here on your Weber or whatever you're using, and you're no fire over there, and you're just constantly turning them and rotating them, they come out very pork choppy, kind of, you know what I mean?
Okay.
They're not that fall off the bone kind of barbecue. This is more of a grill, but it's because I eat so much barbecue, I just adore that recipe.
Nice. Yeah, you got 7 Webers, so you're good.
That's right.
The baby backs are awesome.
Now, when are you coming out with a cookbook that gives away your brisket rub? Because that is phenomenal.
Yeah. So the funny part is the guy that won the competition at the brisket class that I taught used my rub. He just did exactly what I told him we do. I was like, wow, that's pretty smart because we gave him our rubs. Probably never. Okay. We'll end up selling it eventually.
Now, are you going to sell sauces too eventually?
Eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have to get there. And it's, I'm opening 2 places in the next 2 months. So as far as my list goes, it's really down there. Yep. But we want to. Mm-hmm. I need to figure it out. Maybe we can talk about, who bottles yours and stuff like that. Okay. Is that Gregory? You using Gregory for
No, same one that bottles Billy Gillespie's, Chubby.
Oh, he moved. He's not working with...
No, he's on his... Steve Norwood's on his own now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, one day.
Okay. And you are part of something called No Kid Hungry also.
Super. We're going to talk about that. How cool is that? 1 in 7 children in America are at risk of hunger. I grew up actually as a federally assisted child. We had food stamps, and I was never hungry as far as I remember. But, I definitely know that we had federal assistance, and I think that's okay. And, that was a short period in our life, and things got better. But I know that I'm fortunate. We are fortunate. We're not looking in our refrigerator and going, "How am I going to feed my children?" Mm-hmm. One of the saddest things is the fact that the children, and they haven't goofed anything up yet. You can't be like, "Well, that kid screwed things up, so they shouldn't eat." No. So feeding children is super important. And when we, and I take it think about it when we talk about, we can't find good people to hire, and these people aren't smart enough. It's you know why? Because they're not learning. Why aren't they learning? Because they're not eating. So feeding children is super important. It's Share Our Strength or strength.org you can go to and help donate, or there's all sorts of events that happen. What Share Our Strength does is a lot of advocacy, and one of the cool things they do is they've created this thing called Breakfast After the Bell, where in cities, it started in Denver, they got everyone to agree that children would eat after the bell. I don't even know if you remember, but when I went to school, public school, there was always those kids who had breakfast. They were having breakfast in the morning. Mm-hmm. It was a free lunch, but it wasn't many. It was 10. So it's a federally assisted program, meaning that the states don't have to pay for it. But only 10% would opt in. A lot of stigma and stuff like that, and reasons, or buses late, and a lot of reasons why children weren't. So now they're getting 80% participation, and all the children are eating breakfast in their first period. So what magically happens when we feed children? Test scores go up. Disciplinary goes down. Attendance goes up. So I don't know how anybody can say feeding children is not the best thing to do. So, and as a father, I would be heartbroken if I couldn't feed my children.
Oh, absolutely. That's my, everybody's like, you're not afraid of anything. I go, there's one thing I'm afraid of, not being able to support my family.
Yeah.
That's literally the biggest fear in my life.
Yeah. So Share Our Strength is, I've been with them for 30 years, and, anything I can do for them, I try to do.
Awesome. So, Andy, where can everybody find you on social media, websites, things like that?
At Andy Husbands on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, though I think I'm at my Facebook limit. But Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Andy Husbands.
And where are your restaurants located?
TheSmokeShopBarbecue.com. Okay. Kendall Square, Seaport, Assembly Row, North Station coming soon, Harvard Square coming soon.
North Station coming soon.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And definitely go check out the cookbook. Grab it on Amazon.com, Google Books, Barnes & Noble. It's awesome.
Perfect. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this week, folks. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. Catch the audio wherever podcasts are found. Catch the video on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we upload a new episode, and you'll have our whole catalog of episodes right there. I think 81, 82 episodes right now.
Wow.
We're getting there. Right there at your fingertips.
Yeah, almost like Seinfeld.
I know. Just hit that button.
Do you want to do another chug quick? No.
Let me get through this.
All right.
We'll hit it before the smoke is rolling.
You got it.
On social media, find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Pit Life BBQ. Questions and comments, please send them to pitlifebbqpodcast@gmail.com. And like always, please subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. Once again, I know I repeat myself, but these numbers for some reason, keep going up every month. And we can't thank you guys enough because you guys are what makes it happen. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you.
And, all right, I'll do one more.
You don't want mine?
You don't want to drink it? Give me it. I'll drink it.
Yeah, you can drink it.
Yes. Uncle Jimmy, love you, brother. Miss you already. Tell everyone we said hi.
It's impressive.
It is impressive. It is impressive.
And on that note, till next week, keep the smoke rolling.
Attention cigar smokers, or even friends of a cigar smoker. If you're looking to relax with a nice premium cigar or looking for a great gift for a cigar smoker, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Our friends at twoguyscigars.com have created the Cigar of the Month Club. For just $24.99 per month, you or your friend will receive 4 different premium handmade cigars every month, and shipping and handling is included. Go to twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com, and go to the Cigar of the Month Club. You can stop anytime because there's no contract, but you won't because this is a tremendous deal for our listeners. Go to twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com, and click the Cigar of the Month Club. At the same time, if you want to learn about the cigars you receive each month, you can smoke along with them on their own podcast called The Cigar Authority. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice premium cigar from our friends at twoguyscigars.com.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21, Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.